Welcome everyone. This is a Pokemon fanfic by Sakura, The Legacy of Red. Previously on Legacy of Red, Michael battled hiker Anthony and managed to capture an Nidoran afterwards. Surprised by a storm, our hero was forced to start walking in the middle of the night. Heavy rain hammered his face the whole time, but finally, tired and completely out of energy, he reached a Pokemon Center. Chapter 5 Safe Haven. Bright sunlight shone through the window. It hit the face of a young man who woke up with a big yawn. Wet clothes were lying all over the floor. The room was soon completely filled with sunlight as the young man opened the curtains. A clock shaped like an electrode was hanging on the wall. It was almost midday. Our hero took a quick shower. His muscles and legs were hurting, but that didn't matter. He wanted to know that his Pokemon were safe. Michael rushed downstairs and asked the nurse Joy for his Pokemon. A Chansey brought 2 Pokeballs on a tray and gave them to Michael. "We have restored your Pokemon to full health," the nurse said. Oh, the happiness! Michael opened the balls and 2 happy-looking Pokemon came out. As he hugged them both, he felt warm waves fill his body. Charmander and Nidoran seemed glad to find Michael cared for them, and Charmander expressed its gratitude by poking Mike with its head. The reunion was very joyful and lasted until a shady-looking dealer interrupted them.
Mr. Hey, would you like to purchase this amazing Magikarp? Now for only 500.
Sure, why not? Michael replied, and immediately sent the poor creature to his PC. The man grinned like he had made an advantageous deal, but 500 was not really that big amount of money. At this rate, the guy would need to sell 2,000 Magikarps just to afford a bike. After thanking Nurse Joy as generously as he could, Mike went outside. He gazed back at the mountain. The peak of the mountain was clearly visible from this side. Weird how the landscape looked totally different in bright sunlight. Michael had probably walked the fastest possible route to the Pokemon Center, but in the process avoided reaching the summit. His Pokemon were safe, fully healed, and he was almost already in Uter City. Before continuing to Route 3, Michael chatted with some young trainers at the Pokemon Center. One of them had also received a Charmander from Professor Oak not long before him. The trainer seemed enthusiastic and was proudly showing off his Boulder badge he had just won from the Uter City gym. There were some wild Rattatas behind the Pokemon Center. Mike captured one and headed to the tall grass nearby. There he trained his Nidoran all the way up to level 12 while capturing a Pidgey and a Jigglypuff. Michael thought it would be cool to have a strong flying Pokemon, so he kept Pidgey in his party, hoping it would one day evolve to be the true king of the skies, while he sent the Jigglypuff to his PC storage system. On Route 3, Michael met many young trainers who were eager to battle. Apparently, there was a forest nearby, as over half of them used bug-type Pokemon. This suited Michael's Charmander perfectly, and after grilling one particularly strong Metapod with Ember, his Charmander reached level 16 and started evolving. The feeling was simply astonishing. Everyone who has seen a Pokemon evolve knows it's a very flashy process. The light they emit is so bright it seemed to be coming from a completely another dimension. Even the sounds are peculiar. A certain rhythm going up and down, can be heard while the Pokemon evolve. This was the first time Michael experienced this in first person, and when a bright yellow Charmeleon emerged from the light, he all of a sudden realized that a Charmeleon might not like him the way Charmander did. Cautiously, Michael gave a little smile towards Charmeleon, who looked back at him with an evil face. The trainer and his Pokemon looked at each other intensively. All was quiet, and neither flinched one bit. Then Charmander burst out grinning. Charmeleon and Michael grinned at each other, and even the trainer Michael had just beaten joined the club. Then they all started laughing. Upon arriving to Butor City, Michael had a nice and flexible party. Charmeleon at level 17, Nidoran at level 13, and a level 7 Pidgey. He hadn't battled with his Pidgey at all, and he felt like he only wanted to keep party Pokemon he really used. So Michael sent Pidgey to the PC storage system, but in case someday he needed the services of the small bird Pokemon, he could always call it back. Michael's bright eyes gazed at the old city. It was a lot different from Cerulean. The city was smaller and the buildings looked older. Everything was made either from rock, steel or concrete. However, the stone theme was the most dominant. People moving outside were mainly old people or young children. Perhaps the rest of the folk were working. Michael remembered the hiker Anthony worked in a steel factory in Butor. Or then something was really wrong. Butor City had only one shop, an old-looking Pokemon Mart. Nevertheless, they sold everything Michael wanted to buy. He had to pull some money out of his PC to afford a fire and water resistant tent, Pokeballs, medicine, healing items and food, but in the end he was very happy with his purchases. Michael took out his bike and explored Butor a little more. It was exactly as he had expected. There was not a single modern house to be seen in the whole city except for the Pokemon Gym and a rock museum. Michael knew he could probably sleep in his tent or in the Pokemon Center, but this night he felt like sleeping more comfortably. Therefore he started to look around for a good quality hotel. Soon the young Pokemon trainer found an old stone mansion with a big hotel logo. Michael went in. The hotel receptionist seemed surprised Michael could easily afford their 25,000 room, but after Michael paid everything and even gave her a wealthy tip, she happily showed him the way to his new room. Once inside, Michael sent out his Pokemon. Charmander and Nidoran seemed happy. Michael also contacted Bill through his communication device, and they exchanged recent experiences. Bill currently had 2 young Pokemon trainers sleeping in the lighthouse, and he was working on an electromagnetic plasma radiation obfuscation emission stimulation ultra disintegration device. After the phone call ended, Michael called his Pokemon back to their balls and went to bed. Before falling asleep, he thought about the day and everything that had happened. He could probably visit the museum tomorrow, or maybe even the Pokemon Gym. These thoughts, Michael fell asleep, and he slept as well as a man in a good quality hotel would expect to sleep.